Make48 is funded by
Stanley Black & Decker provides tools and services around the globe to help turn great ideas into reality and to help us shape the world we live in. We proudly support programming that inspires invention, innovation, and hard work. Together with Make48, we're providing men and women the tools and resources to build a better world. Stanley Black & Decker, for those who make the world.
Previously on Make48, the teams presented their storage solutions to a focus group of industry experts.
I was thinking of having like a loop system and you just have a hook that you're going to anchor to the wall.
And they continued to build their prototypes.
So I'm thinking brass will still work for you.
Okay.
But we have multiple materials there, and I got more scrap materials back here, just in case.
Make48. Everyone's got a big idea.
There's no reason why you can't come with a great idea, as great an idea as 48 hours if you're screwing around with it for 48 years, sometimes.
Having a great idea or having an incredible product and getting it produced and distributed and dealing with everything that comes actually of building and running a business is a far stretch from just a product. For me, the biggest reward I get from this is really the paradigm shift of the competitors. Now, not everybody's going to walk away from this competition with an epiphany. Oh my gosh, I see everything differently and my life is different and I believe in myself now like I never did before, but a couple will.
With the focus groups behind them, the teams shift their attention to bringing their ideas to life.
So far, we've made everything out of cardboard just to make sure that the proportions and everything fits the way we want it to, and then we're gonna cut these. We're gonna laser cut the actual shelves out of clear acrylic, because the point is, like, when you put things on the shelves, you'll be able to exactly see what's in them.
It's going.
It's working.
It's going.
Oh, great! That looks nice.
That's
20 hours or less. Now let's start.
Now we're gonna do the prototype. This is only the prototype of the prototype.
That's the heaviest thing.
Well, you try.
Will you have some type of motion?
That's the plan. We couldn't find something.
There's something motion once that cabinet opens, the light comes on.
That's the idea. Open the door.
Do a little photoresistive sensor, and then as soon as it sees light when you open the thing, it can trigger. You just need like a little voltage divider.
And I think Rick would be your perfect help for that.
So let's get an accurate diameter.
And then
how are you going to fasten that? Do you want a little pocketed circle? I mean, I can go ahead and pocket. I don't have to go through it. I can just pocket this partially. It'll give you a good glue joint.
From a manufacturing environment, we develop products to meet customer applications all the time. It is very common for us to start on a new project and take many, many months or even years to develop that and refine it to where it needs to be to meet the market. The teams in the Make48 competition only have 48 hours. It's almost mind-boggling how quickly you have to get so many things done to make that happen.
A lot of the teams don't understand that, hey, you not only come up with the idea, but you're gonna have to come up with the prototype. You're gonna have to come up with the sales sheet. You're gonna have to buy parts that you need to make this part, your idea. There is so much that happens in that 48 hours. It just gets all compressed down.
After you.
They're hard to open,
For Mountain Mines, I kind of worked with them on, they had taken their idea, they had an idea of what they wanted to do. I kind of helped them figure out, well, how can we make this and demonstrate it for the judges? For instance, they wanted to show that you would use this to hang tires on. So they're like, well, where can we go get some tires? And I'm like, you don't need to do tires. I knew that we had some foam, some thick foam in the trailer. So I told them, we'll just cut the tires out of foam and paint them black, and then you could just use those on stage to represent tires. And they were like, oh, that's a great idea. So sometimes rethinking of the supplies that you have on hand, and utilizing those supplies to get the concept across, because we're just trying to make a feels like prototype, not the real thing.
So Team Bumblebee had this idea for the pie pod, and I helped them fabricate one of their first prototypes, which they had envisioned to have a stainless steel or what looked like a stainless steel or metal type pie shape, that we found a way to make it look like what they had envisioned. But working with them, they had a really clear idea of what they wanted it to look like, how they wanted it to work.
My first 3D print, and whoever thought it would be worth $10,000. With our prototype, we actually are 3D printing, and that's extremely exciting because you see something actually happening. Everything else has been up in the head in theory and storyline, but once you see that 3D printer start spitting out the resin, it lets you know that at least you're going to have something to take to the judges' table. My son has a lot of energy, Caleb, our other teammate, but when you put him in front of this 3D printer, he could sit here forever. It's meditative, but it says it's going to take 5 hours to print out the bottom piece here, and then another hour to put the lid on.
So when we were first approached by Eventroid, we didn't quite know what we were printing. A lot of times we're just doing a shape. As it started to sort of come to fruition, we figured out what it was. They had their own designers, so they did the CAD, then handed us the file, and then we tried to output as fast as we could.
Time is our most valuable resource right now. Sam, what would you say?
Yeah, we need our parts to print. Our first print that we put on, we designed a first print on the 3D printer, and the first one worked. Yeah. So that was very exciting. We've come up with a name.
The twist and spout, so we finally had that eureka moment. And our fourth team member, he was supposed to be here this afternoon. We learned he missed his flight and he wouldn't be able to make it, but then he just gave us a call about an hour ago saying he's on a plane and he's gonna be here late tonight. So we'll have him for a couple hours tomorrow to help us out. It's better than nothing.
Okay, so do you have a file for this, or you just want to
I'm gonna make
shout out sizes? Are there holes involved? Are there other shapes?
So right now we're at the process where we're cutting out our final prototype. Right now, since we don't have a table saw, we're utilizing the CNC's 4x8 bed to cut out all of our sheets and all of our pieces of wood that we need, so that way they stay perfectly square and it'll make assembling the prototype all that much easier.
Hey guys. Hi, how's it going?
Hi.
Look at it, isn't it beautiful? It is beautiful. I founded my company from a 36-hour hackathon, so I have this huge soft spot for these high energy, low sleep, high stress competitions. Like, I think it forces you to problem solve and it forces you to be creative, but it also forces you to bond with all of the people that you're with. And that's a deadly combination of awesome. It's like an artsy spider.
It's like my baby.
Ooh, it feels nice.
It should be heavy duty.
Yeah, it's way heavier duty than I imagined when you first pitched it to me.
Yeah. We'll see.
So how's progress?
Wait. That's progress.
What
do you know about VHB tape? Because it's about 700 and I need to find a spec sheet.
I actually know a good amount. What do you need to know?
How much does it hold?
Yeah, we're trying to
We're gonna put a square on here.
VHB is rated for shear at I think the same rating as aluminum welding, but it's less good at
that's the one we need.
Yeah, which sucks. But it is still
I need to find a spec
really
sheet.
effective. Is hanging it still your biggest roadblock right now, or design challenge?
Not if we give them VHB with screw holes.
Yeah.
So,
Where are the clips for it? How's that gonna work? Or is it?
There
are clips. Yeah, we have clips.
We're working on
Are you 3D printing them? Or are you designing your own clips? Or did you buy clips?
We bought clips.
Okay, well, it seems like you guys are making a lot of progress.
We're getting
So I will let you keep prototyping. Don't let me get in the way.
Nope.
Let me know if you need us to build anything. There's board tool techs out there.
So Team Propel had this idea of this very nifty little stackable, movable, slidable drawer storage solution for a cabinet. And the concept is great. It had a whole bunch of nifty little features, but the concept and the prototype, it just wasn't going to be fabricatable in the short amount of time we had. And so when they first started talking with one of our design guys who was drawing it up on CAD, they say, hey, it needs to do this, and this needs to pull out, this needs to push, this needs to expand, and he was able to incorporate that all into the model. But then they thought, well, we can just make that like that, right? We'll just make one that does all that. And so they set off to start printing some 3D parts for all these hinges and levers and pull arms and all this stuff to make it work. And after several hours, they started getting frustrated because it wasn't working like what they had envisioned, and you couldn't fabricate all the parts exactly perfect with the tools we had.
As tool techs, we work in the 3D world all the time. So we'll look at a problem or look at a product and immediately understand the 3D repercussions of things, and then trying to explain it to somebody who doesn't work in that world all the time. Sometimes it can take a while to get them ramped up.
We've 3D printed a lot of the kind of moving parts to our prototype, and now the wooden parts are being laser cut. And Tim and some of the other techs are going to help us kind of put it all together. So we're in the kind of prototype assembly stage. And then will we do the same activity with the water-soluble pieces?
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
I'll be ready.
Yes. We'll break away as much of the crusty stuff, the support material, as we can without having to do that. And then for the finer details and things, it's always good to soak it a little bit so that we don't break the prints. These prints are pretty solid, and at least, you know, there are some parts that we can definitely use for the prototype that are given, you know, that come out really well.
Okay.
Yeah, very. It's good progress. We finally got to a point where there was a compromise, and they were happy with where we're at.
We'll have it by tomorrow? Or?
We'll have the prints, I'm hoping, early evening.
And
we
then
don't
the
have to
wood is
print
being cut
as
now?
many, so that wood that's being cut right now should be done about an hour and maybe a little bit.
Okay,
So
great.
we can start putting the box together and get
Exactly.
some ideas about that too.
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay.
All right.
He's about to cut the design for our two-fold mirror door hanger. He's on the first cut, and then we're going to do a smaller one because it's modular.
CNC technology started in the 1960s. You go back to the 50s and 40s, and there was still NC code, but they were put on like punch cards and things like that. So when small personal computers became accessible, now it became feasible to stream very large files. So all this machine wants to do is eat XYZ coordinates. Okay. You tell me where to go in the X-axis, the Y-axis, and the Z. I'll just say, yes, ma'am, I'm on my way.
So what we have finished is our prototype is cut out, the actual one we're going to use. So we're ready to put it together. What we have to do, and the most challenging part, is to make sure it doesn't move. So we're working on that right now. We've taken it out again to the tool techs, and they're gonna put rivets in it, and we're gonna use something that we bought on the supply run to secure the rivets. And work with it.
And then, and I just want to double check. This is it. This is the top, right?
Right.
Okay. Okay. So it'll hang on each side of a door, just like this.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely. It's just gonna hang down.
Okay.
Where's my little?
I remember the Elite Sisters, they had a lot of very unique ideas, and then I distinctly remember part of the thing that they really focused on was making sure it looked good for final presentations. And I don't think every group necessarily did that. But the Elite Sisters, I remember we took these straps and we attached them to the, you know, kind of wooden pieces that they were gonna hang over the door. And then they said, oh, well, do you have rivets that we can just make and put them on there so it looks like it's riveted, just to kind of give that final illusion, so that I think when they presented it, it kind of caught the eye, and it, I think, was meant to kind of help their chances.
We are working with Christina and on the Glowforge because we're making little boxes for our shelves.
So for Team Radium's project, the laser cutter was actually the best tool, because they're talking, I mean, 1/8 inch, very thin acrylic. You could cut that on a shop bot, maybe, but it would leave a lot of rough edges, and with how fast that bit's going, it might actually just melt it more than it would cut it. Laser cutters use very, very strong, very high powerful lasers to essentially cut through whatever material you've got in it. The nice thing about it, they're very fast. If you just need them to cut, I think cutting out their boxes couldn't have taken more than 5 minutes per box. If you were to like 3D print a box of the same size, it would have taken hours and hours.
I worked with this material before, and it was decades ago, before we had this technology, and it was hard and it was messy and it basically made me want to cry all the time. And this is magical and glorious, and is so much more efficient than what I used to do in art school.
Go ahead and tack it here.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I think that's having fun.
That's scary, right?
Yeah.
It's welding it together, yeah.
Like chemically.
So they prototyped everything in cardboard first, proved out the whole design. So that was amazing. I think it's important that people try to prototype something immediately. Start whiteboarding, start sketching, making out of cardboard. But with acrylic, obviously any scratch or dust is gonna ruin it. And then this particular glue wicks in like capillary action. It's 1 minute work time, 2 minutes cure, so it's pretty cool.
We're super excited and happy with how these shelves came out. We were a little nervous, but Louis, the tool tech, like nailed it.
There it is.
Yay!
All done.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. These look incredible.
It's really good.
We're really excited.
They look amazing.
Thank you.
I feel worthy.
You don't feel what? Worthy.
As the clock ticks down, the teams press on. Video experts are brought in to help brainstorm and storyboard ideas.
So basically your intro is going to be kind of that like comedic, silly.
Right, yeah. Maybe in black and white. Over the top.
Yeah. Okay. I think with that, if you're going to go the silly route, go like all out.
Yeah.
Really get corny with it. Make sure though that you still really, after the goofy part, really focus on selling, like being like, okay, this is what, like over the goofy part, and then really getting into what your product
Selling the
is.
features and why it actually alleviates the problem.
I know I'm saying like go all out, but also don't forget to spend that time like also really getting to the point of your product. Because if you're goofy for too long, everyone's like, okay.
The video, we're trying to figure out, how we're gonna, well, we actually know how we're gonna set that up. We're actually gonna use this test kitchen here and use the equipment that is in here, which works out perfectly with what we have.
This is comedy gold.
We also was kind of hovering in on the packaging, which we were told by a couple of tool techs that that's not necessarily something of importance. If we got time to go back on it, that can only do good and help us and assist us.
But what do you think about the inside image?
I'm fine with it. Is there an issue with the image, you think, or?
I don't know. Because I made it. I don't spot the issue because this is the best of my mind thinks it should be.
You want it to look generic as far as items in the icebox. You want to have it as generic as possible because you're not trying to sell their items. You're trying to sell your own.
And that's why I kind of like the pictures kind of like faded out a little bit.
Yes, exactly.
And
it's not prominent.
So let's first hear about your product, and then if you have thought about your video ideas, we'll go into that next.
The idea is you have your lawnmower stored under this thing. You have a ramp that allows you to store your snowblower, your generator, your mulcher, anything seasonal.
Yeah.
Anything on wheels, really, on top of it. Because the space above the lawnmower is always one that usually goes unoccupied.
I feel like I need this in my garage.
That's awesome. How many can we write down?
Yeah.
I did have a very light storyboard idea for our video.
Let's hear it.
So I essentially wanted to show an opening shot of a garage wall, and it's gonna have, we bought a bunch of props. It's gonna have all the tools, and we're gonna configure something to look like a lawnmower and a snowblower.
Yeah.
All just up against the wall, looking very cluttered and taking up a lot of space. And it's gonna be, classic, like, don't you hate when this happens to you? When you
Showing
can't
the
store
problem.
everything. Exactly. Classic infomercial stuff is what we really wanted to go with.
Okay.
That's really all we had so far for it.
So, since you only have a minute long, I think it's good to really plan out how long it's going to be for your intro, how long you're going to explain your key features, and then to really have a strong closing. So for your intro, showing the problem, I would suggest, would you say?
Like 15 seconds for that.
Do you have a name?
We have a few. There's one right in front of you. We got a logo going.
Stack rack. Love that.
Because we didn't want to minimize the base time.
It clicks and it tells exactly what it is.
What is the estimated time? Because if we intend to do this, I don't think we're going to be able to shoot it tonight. We'd have to shoot it tomorrow morning after the store's opening.
So, funny story, the owner of the hardware store we went to this morning, he invited us out to actually use the store before customers get there and use some of the props they have there to shoot it because he wants one of these.
I would say the more pre-production you do, the better, and it'll make your filming process a lot smoother.
It doesn't involve it first.
Really getting that script planned out will help you and shorten your filming time.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Mountain Mines, I think they had a really good idea.
What's it called? It's called the Strap-in Store. I hate storage.
Well, I don't hate it.
You're not like
the ends. I'm always like, oh, it's kind of cringy, but I know that's what a lot of people
Store
dig.
storage system.
Okay.
Everything's a system.
Storage
Solution.
That's what we have. It's a lot of
We're
S's
creating solutions here.
Yeah.
But that makes it very, using all the S's, I helped with their construction of the straps.
So these will give you plenty of room. Plenty of room. And then
because this is what, like an inch and a half?
you can go like this, and then
and just sew
sew right to the edge, and then I trim it down, and we're good.
That works. They decided to go with nylon webbing, which is a great idea. It's really sturdy, really strong, especially if you're gonna be using it to hang things off of. And we basically just kind of like layered the straps on top of each other, did a basic rectangle and X in the middle, just to reinforce it.
We're really happy with how the product works and the reaction of people, and that totally jazzed us. Our fourth team member is arriving within like 15 or 20 minutes from upstate New York, and he is our video guy.
Everybody welcome, Councilman Anasha Cummings.
We made it in time just for Make48.
Yes, we had a city council meeting where we were passing a major local law, so got delayed, but glad to be here now.
All right, so you already know the concept, the dispenser thing. This is the prototype that we're at right now. So we had our first, this was the first funnel spout thing. This is the next iteration, a little bit larger, so that was one of the comments we got, was that it didn't have enough stuff.
A little more out.
And we raised the bottom of the bin to be at that, angle
to make
there.
sure you don't leave it a little in the back corner.
So the stuff slides right in.
No, I want an extra cheese. Extra cheese. We got a second. This is my emergency in case the delivery guy runs away with my pizza when I order it tomorrow. Yeah, this is just for demo. So these are gonna go into these tins here, which again, this is our backup demo. Now we're ready to turn in for the night. We have our 3D printing, the actual, the new version of this. This version actually, our dish was going to be initially on the bottom, but some people came in through here and said, hey, if you don't want to, pardon the paint, if you don't want to have to dig your pizza out, we were thinking of levers and that, and he came up with a great idea. He said, why not make your lid be your plate, which is half the thickness, and then this becomes your lid, goes over it. So when you take the lid off, half of your pizza is already hanging out. So it solves a problem. It was a beautiful idea, so we're redoing these now. I work emergency medicine. I do a lot of shift work and night shifts. And night shifts are rough, but there's a beginning point and an end point. This has no end point.
It's like a little bit of a marathon, right? It's an adventure. I usually drink more coffee. I don't need it. I'm like just high on adrenaline right now. It's crazy. So no, I am enjoying it. It's a thrill. It's a challenge. It's an adventure, creativity and ingenuity, and it's all that stuff all rolled up into one, for sure.
On the next Make48, the teams finish their prototypes and begin to develop their pitches.
What is going to kind of capture the audience? I want to be able to know more about it. And who knows about that product?
as the race to the finish line continues.
We are feeling great. I had like an hour and a half to sleep, but you never know it.
We're kind of multitasking and then, feeling the pressure right now.
It's done.
Make48 is funded by
Stanley Black & Decker provides tools and services around the globe to help turn great ideas into reality and to help us shape the world we live in. We proudly support programming that inspires invention, innovation, and hard work. Together with Make48, we're providing men and women the tools and resources to build a better world. Stanley Black & Decker, for those who make the world.
To learn more about the invention process and to see bonus content, visit Make48.com.
Thank you.